This podcast deals with disturbing subject matter. Listener discretion and headphones are advised.
It's time to open the door to your mind. Sit back and listen to true horror. But be careful of what you allow in. Because it's time to go through the fog.
I'm DarkHero, and this story is called ABCs from Halloween.
There's an old legend that goes through my hometown around Halloween. The story talks about 5 children that go missing over the course of a year, about one every other month, with the first disappearance starting in January. Each child was gone, without a trace, and no one knew where to start looking. The only thing was that each kid was taken on their way home from school, so the parents were diligent in making sure that their children returned home. But despite their efforts, another kid went missing, then another, then another. The adults were in an uproar, tearing through the town and neighborhoods to look through the kids, but as time went on, their hope dwindled. Then, October came, bringing in not only crisp, cold air, but another mystery. People had their suspicions towards one man who goes unnamed in the legends. He was from out of town, and he lived off old land that was given to him by family. After a couple of years, he ended up becoming the town drunk who spent his days alone with booze. So, a few days before Halloween, a group of parents, along with a couple of sheriffs, went over to the man's house and banged on his front door. The man groaned, and when he opened the door, everyone was hit with a foul stench that made them gag. The group fought against the odor and questioned the man, but it went nowhere. Day after day, they returned to the man's home. Each time, he denied anything to do with the kids. The parents were crazed. He was the only one that could have done this. He was the outsider, and he was the one that took their children. They couldn't do anything with the law, so they decided to take matters into their own hands. On the eve of Halloween, the parents donned costumes and headed out into the night towards the man's home. The man unwittingly opened his door and was pushed back inside by the group. The adults dumped their bags of candy to reveal razor blades within them. Each of them picked a small blade off the floor and began to slice the man apart. Screams filled the home that night as they sliced him up and pulled his organs out. They pulled him apart, limb by limb, in what they felt was just revenge. They continued their massacre, and just before the sun came up, they were all gone, without a trace. The following day, the sheriffs went to the man's home to find the floor covered with blood and candy. So, the story went on and warped into a legend about the lost souls of children coming back on Halloween to exact their revenge on an old man. But which part of the story is true? Was there really an old man who took away kids in my small town? Was he truly the perpetrator, or was he just a victim? Time has passed, yet we're left with more questions than answers. All we have left is a poem that speaks of the tale that we call the ABCs from Halloween. A is for the air that chills the skin that night. B is for the blades they wield hidden out of sight. C is for the candy that rustles as they roam. D is for the drunk old man that sits at home alone. E is for evil, whose punishment left undone. F is for the fun they'll have before the morning sun. G is for the gin he drinks while he waits all alone. H is for the horrors that will break and sunder bone. I is for the injuries the man gave to each of them. J is for the job to be done, his soul they will condemn. K is for kidnapping, the thing he loved to do. L is for the lives undone with no trace of a clue. M is for midnight, the time is finally here. N is for noises that echo in his ear. O is for open, the creaking of the door. P is for pitter-patter on the hardwood floor. Q is for the question, "What the hell are you doing here?" R is for remembering the faces that filled him up with fear. S is for the screams he makes as the children creep close. T is for the tears he weeps, a scene that's so grandiose. U is for undoing, the revenge finally dealt. V is for the viscera, wrapped around him like a belt. W is for the wails he makes, his body a bloody wreck. X is for the spot that's marked on his tender neck. Y is for the yells they make, tearing him limb by limb. Z is for zero. There's nothing left of him.
Through the Fog is recorded and edited by Intro and outro by Katie Kemp. For more stories, go to www.throughthefog.org. We'll be back in 2 weeks, so keep your eyes on the fog.